Hello, my name is Kushag, and the topic of our debate today is big data is a fad, and in the long run, we will find that its ability to significantly improve organizational performance is overrated. A team consisting of myself, Joseph, and Jakpreet are going to speak against the motion. So, all the information taken from my presentation is being taken from the publication by Ernst& Young. Here I am going to discuss big data from organizational standpoint. According to Ernst& Young, while there is no doubt that the big data revolution has created substantial benefits to business and consumers alike, there are consumerate risks that go along with using big data. Big data is a term for data sets that are so large or complex that traditional data processing applications are inadequate. Challenges include analysis, capture, data curation, search, sharing, storage, transfer, visualization, querying, updating, and information privacies. Some of the big data drivers are ability to compute, analyze, availability of data, need to deliver extract values, and the various considerations in the publications are governance, management, architecture, usage, quality, security, and privacy. Discussing on the organizational standpoint, we will discuss upon governance. The MIT Center for Digital Business states, when it comes to big data, the right governance model depends on maturity level of the organization regarding data-driven decisions. The data should be available to all and should be in a proper structure. Standardization and following the varied measures established for safeguarding the data helps in increasing trust. This is especially important when integrating governmental, institutional, open and contemporary data. An example of this is seen in action with European Association that aims to build up a big data service platform for the health sector in the local region. It is a unique collaboration between health institution, government, education and knowledge institution, and major IT service providers. Moving on, management. Big data allows cost-effective solutions to absorb, store, and process information from various sources like social network, market information, and varied platform of communication. By estimate, there is more than 80% data which is not in a proper format which can be used for processing. This unstructured data, which in turn can help in increasing the overall performance and profit. Big data capabilities allows organization to integrate multiple data sources with relatively low effort in a short time frame. Moving on, another organizational standpoint is architecture. Big data has brought a new paradigm to data architecture. In the past, data systems were built with a predetermined set of data requirements. In the big data world, data storage platforms are not restricted to a predetermined rigid data models, and data systems are capable of handling all kind of structured and unstructured data. Integration of unstructured data in particular can lead to improved analytics and reporting. Uh, these are the various points which can be included to make the business decision making process more intelligent, to enhance the monitoring of customer profiles for red flags, to enable the company to offer more relevant services to the customer tailored to their specific needs. Moving on, I'll discuss upon usage of big data. With big data, some technology companies have emerged with the ability to provide historical weather data and better forecasting for extreme weather events. With the advent of low-cost cloud computing environments and open data movements, various big data weather forecasting ventures have arisen in recent years. Retailers can now improve inventory management by leveraging new big data insights. Moving on, now I will discuss about the quality, which is another organizational standpoint. For many years, the healthcare ecosystem has been embracing big data. With the ability to capture every patient touchpoint, the amount of data within the healthcare ecosystem has exploded. The evolution of new data sources and the ability to match the data with existing data sources is evolving. Big data, in all, is creating the possibility of new positive patient outcomes. Some of these new data sources include the integration of disease registries, tissue registries, and genomic information, and then aligning them with meaningful use clinical standards, which can be used for the betterment of the patient. The values from this new big data insight will be priceless for the patient later on. Touching on security, which is another organizational standpoint, security is a major concern with big data. To make more sense from the big data, organization would need to start integrating parts of their sensitive data into bigger data. To do this, companies would need to start establishing security policies which are self-configurable. These policies must leverage existing trust relationship and promote data and resource sharing within the organization. For example, health and fitness organizations have developed mobile apps that utilize the GPS function of a smartphone and motion accelerometer to determine where you are, plot your route on a map, show your running speed, and other services. The collections and aggregation of this type of information increasingly exposes an individual information. Maintaining security over this data is integral to build consumer trust and fostering continued usage. The last point would be privacy from the organizational standpoint. Organizations have traditionally used various methods of de-identification like anonymization, encryption, pseudonymization, key coding, data sharding, etc. to distance data from real identities and allow analysis to proceed while at the same time containing privacy concerns. The increased use of big data challenges the traditional frameworks for protecting the privacy of personal information. New technology enables the ability to gather and analyze data from multiple locations and bring the challenge of meeting different privacy regulations around the world. Sensor and geolocation data may be used to identify an individual, even if no name is attached to the data. The ability to collect new sources of information like car-based sensor data increase the need to evaluate opt-in and opt-out procedure for the consumers. With this, I'm going to end my part of discussion. Further on slides are discussed by Jackpreet and James. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jakpreet and I'll share a couple of more points that very well goes against the motion that big data is not a fad and in the long run we are surely going to appreciate the existence of big data and its impact on organization performance. Let's begin by analyzing the results which are based on an interview session with 144 CFOs and CIOs from multinational companies with annual revenue of at least $1 billion. The first key aspect of big data analytics that executives have experienced in their organization is identifying insights that would otherwise have been missed. 62% companies in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, 69% companies in America, and 71% in Asia Pacific. So, overall, 65% companies have benefited from big data analytics in identifying hidden insights. The next key benefit companies have experienced is analyzing with greater speed. 87% companies in America and 82% in Asia Pacific, on an average, 79% companies have witnessed quicker and better results. Next key benefit is more sophisticated or granular insights. Roughly 60% on an average are excited about detailed and granular level insights that big data has offered them. On an average, 60% companies have enjoyed saving a lot of running costs due to improved efficiencies in their business, operational, or supply chain process. Big data has helped various organizations and in various functional domains. Marketing is one of them, where it has provided CMOs with customer insight that enable them to make successful marketing campaign. According to the Forbes survey conducted among 211 senior marketers at various ad agencies in United States, they find that the organization that used big data at least half the time in their marketing campaign, 60% said that they have exceeded their goals. And more than 9 in 10 companies, roughly 92%, who said that they have made sufficient use of big data, met or exceeded their goals. This clearly gives us an understanding that big data is helping CMOs make better data driven marketing campaigns. Paul Gunning from DDB Worldwide Advertising Agency says that we are getting much better ideas of where we are having an effect on a client, metrics, sales, and where we are not. Teresa, managing partner for MEC in North America, is excited about the fact that their company has achieved 8 to 23% sales lift via its proprietary data analytics system. Big data is spreading its arm in every sector, and healthcare is no less. In fact, big data analytics has helped tremendously in giving very insightful details. After more than 20 years of steady increases, healthcare expenses now represent 17.6% of GDP, which is nearly 600 billion more than the expected benchmark for a nation of United States size and wealth. Extensive report from McKinsey estimates that the big data initiatives could reduce healthcare spending by 300 to 400 billion, or 12 to 17% of the $2.6 trillion baseline in US healthcare costs. That's a huge number. Multinational organizations and educational institutes believe a lot in these facts and take big initiative analyzing very seriously. Top educational institutes in Pittsburgh have formed an alliance, Pittsburgh Health Data Alliance. IBM, Watson, and Apple have joined hands with biggest health insurance company in Japan, that is Japan Post Insurance. Also, the IBM Watson is helping John Hopkins School of Medicine to conduct big data analytics on terabytes of genetic data sets. Medical centers like Mount Sinai have hired various data scientists to help them in their big data analytics lab. Organizations like IBM, Microsoft are aggressively spending a lot on collecting data from various sources such as medical insurance record, variable sensors, genetic data, social media usage in order to predict outbreaks of dengue and malaria, analyze patients' routine, and caution them of any potential problems at early stage. Ultimately, reduce healthcare spending drastically and lead a better, healthier life. And now, my friend Joseph will talk about big data analytics in manufacturing and public sector.
All right, hi guys. My name's Joe, and I will be wrapping up our presentation against the notion that big data is just a fad and is overrated. We're going to give some, in this part of the presentation, we're going to give some actual real life examples of how big data is being used in today's organizations and businesses, with the goal here showing that big data is not just a short lived or overrated fad, and that it is here to stay. The staying power of big data as an innovation can be judged based on the wide range of applications and industries in which it is currently being used. Two strong examples of big data's impact are its wide and varied use in the public sector, and of course the strong bottom line reduction in the manufacturing industry. So our first example comes into big data in the public sector, and this is a great example about crime prevention and how big data is being used to prevent crime. So a number of local governments over the past few years have been using big data and predictive analytics to help lower their crime rates in their communities. They often do this through a process called risk mapping, where they use data on past crimes in a given area and then take into account a lot of other data factors such as census data, population behavior data, and etc. And then they use this data to create a map of possible hotspots where crime might occur. This then allows law enforcement to be properly staffed and maintain positions around potential trouble spots in order to help prevent crime. Now, the police tactic of monitoring hotspots is not a new concept. It's a super classic law enforcement method. The difference here is that big data is allowing them to take into account other data factors other than just past crime statistics, which is all police officers have been using for years. This method is allowing them to anticipate where new hotspots might emerge based on trends and patterns. Again, as opposed to just going back to the same old ones, because things definitely change. More and more police departments are beginning to adopt this tactic, which to us signals that big data is in fact here to stay. Another example of big data's current use in the public sector is with emergency responses. So big data is being used in predictive analytics are all found all over the place in emergency management. One really good example that we found was in actually a hospital in Australia. They've been using predictive analytics for the last few years, and they take all their data. What they do is they take all their data, not only from their own patients, but also through their central government records of all the patients in their area, and they've created a system where they're able to predict their emergency room patient inflows on any given day of the year with an accuracy of 93%. That's a crazy good predictive analytics accuracy rating. And using that, they're able to be staffed properly to deal with emergency room inflow, but also they're able to cut costs by making sure that they're not overstaffed during certain times and they don't need to be. And also that they're able to plan around their schedules, their hospital schedules, for the more advanced procedures. Again, these are public sector hospitals, so this is a really big cost savings for not only the hospital itself, but for the governments that these hospitals operate in. Now we turn to big data and manufacturing. So this has a lot of different examples. We narrowed it down to a couple here of specific ones. So example one is in pharmaceutical manufacturing. So a lot of people don't know this, but pharmaceutical manufacturing is actually still not an exact science in a lot of different for a lot of different pharmaceutical companies. So what a lot of them have started to do is that they've begun to use big data to help them produce more and higher quality drugs that are also more accurate than ever been before. The reason this happens is because they're using insights gained from analyzing all the data that they can possibly gather about the drug production process, which again, in many cases, is still not 100% clear for how these drugs are actually forming. They don't necessarily know all the science behind it, but they're using this data to identify variables in the production process that they can then manipulate, and this is leading to better drug production outcomes. So not only does this save resources, but it makes drug companies more profitable, which again, in theory, it allows them to invest further in the new drug research. That's pretty much the name of the game for pharmaceutical companies. So this is a really, really good example for why big data is going to be here to stay for a long time in the manufacturing sector. And this chart really is kind of brings this all together here. This is conducted by an LNS research group, and this is they're identifying here the top trends in the impact of plant or big data on manufacturing improvement, performance improvements. So again, this is identifying, this is they basically took and interviewed across the manufacturing industry how people were using big data already and what they were using it for and the benefits they found from it. So biggest benefit, like we've covered here already, is that they're able to better forecast their products in production and they're able to understand what they're doing within their plants. So that kind of hits both of the mining example there with the better forecasting and production abilities, and the pharmaceutical manufacturing at the top two here, being able to understand what exactly they're doing in their plants better. So again, this has been our presentation on the benefits of big data and why we believe that big data is not just a fad or overrated. We believe that it is here to stay.